This is Rainbow. Rainbow, sprinkle farts. Yeah, Rainbow sprinkle farts. Yay! How do you like my new character? Rainbow sprinkle farts. Sure, we'll go with that. I just kind of wanted to explore the whole character avatar VTube, PNG tube thing. It took me, 15 or 20 minutes to find and load the software, watch a tutorial, which was very good and concise. It did say, though, to use the game capture in OBS integration, and that didn't work for me, so I just used a regular window capture. Obviously, I haven't trimmed for transparency, and so it's over background or anything. And the character is made, you guessed it, ChatGPT. I don't plan on using ChatGPT for much of anything, nor this character. Excuse me. A little more coffee today. Oof. But I wanted to try it because I thought it was very telling in the large language model, being that sort of just mashing up and regurgitating things from its training that, hope I'm not clipping too bad there, that it's basically looking at a large corpus of work and interpreting that and, kind of reassembling it. And just the fact that I think the prompt I used was like rainbow hair, anime girl with rainbow hair, cat ears and fangs. So essentially Neko style, but I left out Neko. And, this is what it spat out. I did have it add the snake tongue for a little extra spice. Couldn't be too cute. Brought down the volume just a little bit to see. I think I was clipping. But I'm just shocked at how straight ahead stereotypical this thing is that it spat out with that anime girl. That anime girl is basically this now. A sexualized Neko girl with the eyes of an 8-year-old and the chest of a 23-year-old in a neo-gothic corset. And I do have some misgivings about that. I do wish that there were maybe some more diversity, but and I'm not saying that there aren't other characters and aren't other people that do successful things with their characters, but this has become such a major subcultural default. So I worry both about the diversity and I worry about the neoteny of it, neoteny being carrying juvenile traits into adulthood. Just how often we hear of comfy and cozy and these sorts of things. And I fear that it's a withdrawal, from the world a little bit. And I do fear that, but I do have that concern. What's the, hold on, I think I have that Saturday Night Live bit right here.
Hey, guys, hey, let's take it down to like an 8, okay? And always, I would like to point out that Rebecca and Jonathan, while enthusiastic, have latched onto a very narrow and mostly cartoon-based view of Japanese culture.
Yeah, so I think that has, something to be said too for the exotification of, exotification, idealization of another culture, that we see in, I'm not a real big fan of the term weeb, but I think that I think there is something to the criticism of that, and I mean it more, I think, concern for the people that are involved in that and just concerns that they're relying too much on another culture to provide a better environment for them, or that it will solve the problems. The idea of and this may be, a bit on the amplified side, but how many people are like, my dream is to live in Japan, and I think that there's this implicit assumption that uh, I'll be happy, that'll fix my problems. I'm more Japanese at heart, these kinds of things, and I think it can kind of be, reduce the culture to this ideal, not realize a lot of the um, parts about the culture that they're not good or bad, but that are maybe that we can, it's hard to see and relate to, especially being from another culture, or even to realize it when you're within your own culture. The whole thing about fish. Do they realize they're swimming in water? Uh, do we realize we're in the air, kind of thing? You just don't. We think of this as nothing. And I think that can be the case. I've got a family member who works for a large Japanese firm, and one of the funny things, I'm not going to name it, he does mention that video meetings can slow down because of how much porn goes across that network during work hours and stuff, and the heavy drinking and the amount of work. And things, and again, these aren't negatives. We have them too, and we all have that, but just in terms of to not see the full culture, and to see it through the lens of even escapist media for them. I've worked with people from other countries and who've seen American television, have had that diet of American television, come here and think, they're either from New York, Texas, or LA, you know, and the Texas was just because I think like Dallas and things like that at that time. Um, you're from Seattle. Do you know Kurt Cobain? That kind of thing. So, those are my concerns there. Uh, it's for the people involved in that. And it seems like, and don't get me wrong, I'm an anime fan. My first show I ever remember watching was Speed Racer. Uh, gosh, I was 4 years old, something like that. And then, Battle of the Planets, that was, sort of repurposed and re-edited. And, oh gosh, all, Battle Angel and, what was that? Probably, I think I saw that probably 95, 96. Akira, of course, came out around that, what, 80, 90, no, 80. Gosh, when was that? Christmas Day that was early. Yeah, oh gosh, I want to say 87 now. But that was a mind blower. Uh, wow, those years just kind of jumble together, don't they? Uh, but all kinds of stuff. Vampire Hunter D, then Helsing. More modern Helsing rather, more modern. Those interstitials were very kind of odd for that one. I thought the real rough drawn cartoon things. The things that appeared before and after the episodes. Um, Vladimir Harkonnen would be in them. I have no idea why. Of course, the mech armor stuff, Gundam and Bubblegum Crisis and these kinds of things. I had to get Death Note as an import from one of the hippest video rental places in the country. Uh, so that during the pandemic, we watched the one about Go. Oh gosh, Return of the Overfiend. That was '90s as well, I think, early '90s. Uh, just all kinds of stuff. Kids on the Hill. Is that the name of that? If you remember, that one is more of a drama, social coming of age drama with jazz and heroin addiction. Uh, Devil is a part timer. What's the one with the toddler who's um, lives alone. That one. Uh, there's all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Uh, so I've had a diet of that. So I don't think that I'm disparaging the art form by any stretch. Uh, I'm familiar with it. Including the non-anime stuff like kaiju and things like that. But I realize that's a pop cultural element. So I think it's like people learning about America from American television. It's learning it, from our fiction, and trying to extrapolate our day-to-day realities from our maybe somewhat escapist fiction. Did I mention Go-Go? I like that. Oh, Junk Boy in the '90s. I still got to get my take back from that. Talk about that's more adult in quotes. It's pretty adolescent, just covering adult material. Um, but I digress. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on that. I don't know that I have so many thoughts and concerns and just some observations and just maybe some puzzlement about why and how this particular cutie patootie aesthetic is what it is. I mean, I do have the concerns that, hikikomori is not a aspiration. It's um, it's a social disease, a personal disease, and I can see it. I fear that there's a learned hopelessness and helplessness. Learned helplessness is the behavioral term, and that people are retreating, into a cute Peter Pan esque arrested childhood, specifically because the challenges of the world seem like a no-win situation. And the aesthetic becomes sort of this, and people will add, "Oh, this one has a Band-Aid on its nose," or "This one wears an eye patch," and that kind of thing. But these are just concerns, and there's some. Um, I'm interested as to why this has caught on fairly widely and very heavily, in the cultures where it exists, where this is sort of the default presentation, almost an idealized presentation online of oneself. That or especially maybe for views, like I need to be a, a cute anime girl that's also pretty sexualized, uh, to be valid. Anyway, leave any comments if you have any thoughts on it, because I've got maybe thoughts and questions, but I certainly don't have any answers.